Let's do it.
All right, today on the Future Proof podcast, we're joined by a team building inbound revenue, a growth partner helping B2B companies build predictable, scalable revenue engines. Inbound revenue sits at an intersection of marketing, sales, and systems, helping companies move beyond lead chaos into clear positioning, qualified pipelines, and repeatable growth. So today I'm joined here by Parker. He is the co-founder and CEO. Thanks you for joining me today.
Yeah, pumped to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't we just go super quick and why don't you just introduce inbound revenue, what you guys do and what you're all about?
Let's do it. Yeah. So my co-founder and I both, over the last 5-8 years, we were even internal at agencies heading up systems and sales, systems around sales and lead gen and new business development. And 3 years ago, we started Inbound with the intention of scaling that solution that we had found for the agencies that we were working at internally, and helping more businesses build like scalable systems that would bring new business in the door and actually reliably close it ongoing.
Got it. So right now, what is your like ICP? What's the clients that you kind of have the most impact with?
For sure. Yeah. We work with mostly like marketing agencies. So SEO, PPC, social media agencies. And, whether that's for home services businesses or for e-com brands or for tech companies, we're doing a lot of that outbound prospecting to book those meetings on the calendar.
Got it. So I mean, like you mentioned a little bit right now, you do a couple different styles. What's working the best for you right now with actually generating the leads for these businesses?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the type of company, right? Like, I think there are certain companies with either unique offers or ones that are like more cutting edge that are booking well off of like email, just like really like send an email with a unique offer or some sort of like real like trust building message. Like, that's really for us, like the offer or the copy is the thing that really will help with conversions. It's like if you have something that people need or that is more common that would be a need, then okay, awesome. Like, we can convert that really well. Things like home services, you're going to see more where like we're picking up the phone and dialing because those owners are just like they're on their phones, and that's going to
Yeah.
be a lot easier than email. And then there's like more unique stuff. Think like your B2B SaaS companies or that kind of thing, where we might do more like LinkedIn personal brand building because it's going to be more of that like book a demo type of thing that's lower ticket offer versus your like high ticket agency services, right? So it just depends on the niche, but those would be the three main channels that we've been chasing after.
Got it. Now, what's the biggest hurdle? Are you sitting down with the clients and going over like their go to market, going over their messaging, kind of helping them recreate that? Or are
Yeah.
you just like a service that's just coming in and just says, hey, I'm going to get you 10 leads per month. And that's what we do.
Yeah, it's a great question. So like we're definitely like helping to think strategically. I think there's the mix between like at the end of the day, most agency owners or teams that we work with are like at the end of the day, hey, if you can get us leads, like we just want the leads, right? And I think the amount of work that you put into that and the amount of work that they put into that is dependent on the type of business and how hard it is to get their new business in the door. So if we can do a real like plug and play, like, hey, it's another SEO agency. We work with a bunch of SEO agencies and we can guarantee or like really reliably get, new business in the door. That's like a little bit more plug and play versus if it's like a totally new style of business or type of business and we really have to get in the door, get to know your business, then that would be where we would really develop like a more full go-to-market strategy and offer and pipeline for you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Say I'm a marketing agency, in its infancy, don't have a lot of systems and, things set up to really, maximize our efficiency. What are you going to do? Where are you going to start when you have a consultation with this company? Are you going in there and overhauling their lead generation? Sorry, no, not the lead generator. Are you going in and overhauling like the pipeline structure and their, standard operating procedures, or what are you kind of focusing on the most?
Yeah, it depends. Like, I think, for us, we're typically working with bigger, multi-rep sales teams and that kind of thing. Like we might have somebody who's got like 2 to 4 sales reps or something like that out of their, 20 to 50 employees. But like my thing is, and this goes into my thesis going into 2026 around like where people are buying and what the patterns of behavior are. Like when I think about like a solo founder, for example, like the work that I might do with them or a small team, for example, is it might be a lot more like, personal brand focused, a lot more building up of their content, their online presence and being able to be found there. And that in conjunction with some cold outreach that's, relatively easy to set up, plug and play, that can start bringing like initial business in the door. I think those two things in conjunction are a lot of times like what people need is the trust and credibility of some sort of presence mixed with great offer messaging that you would get out of cold email. And if we think about bigger teams especially, then it's like the idea that you have like 10 people on your sales team or your marketing team or your, whatever, the people who are responsible for bringing new business in the door, and you're multiplying the impact that you can have instead of having one founder who's the person who's posting and like, oh yeah, like I'm sharing my story online. Like having those 10 people all posting, all engaging with people's brands, all, driving eyeballs and traffic. Like I'm fascinated by that. I think that's like the number one channel for us to test going into the new year is like, what if instead of just having one person who's your like sending persona or your brand persona, it's like, no, like you can leverage like 10, 15, 20 people's LinkedIn's, their brands, their posting, their DMs to drive new business in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why wouldn't you? I mean, I guess it
But
makes sense. It makes sense why people really do the founder led marketing and only really focus on that, and and have it all on their shoulders because they're the ones that created the business. They're the ones that are passionate about it. But if you can use all of your little army of employees to actually go out and get the message across, it's going to be much more impactful and
Well, and
powerful.
that's my question is like, why aren't people doing it? And I think that's the customer discovery to do over the next, couple of months is like, my thesis behind that is that it is too hard. It is too like there's too much like thought and creativity and time that like needs to be put in per rep. There's like no benefit, no payoff to it because
For
companies
them.
aren't rewarding it, companies aren't supporting it, companies aren't putting resources towards it. And then three, it's just like even if I get started, if I don't see traction pretty quickly, then I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna keep following through with it. And so
Yeah.
like we've got a guy, Gavin, on LinkedIn who he got probably, 80,000 impressions just off of like 4 posts that he put up this week. And like that's like 80,000 eyeballs on inbound revenue within his headline and through, that
Yeah.
ended up driving like 3, 4, 5 bookings for us off of one dude. And I've done the personal brand thing for a while, but it's like the amount of reps and the amount of scale that you have, to your point, like if you had some sort of infrastructure in place around it, then I think the likelihood, infrastructure and reward system, if you had accountability, you had ease of creativity, and you had reward for the productivity that they're putting in from it, if those three things happened, then I think you could reliably generate a really solid pipeline off of more team members than just like your founder who's always been posting.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do something a little bit similar to, I mean, it probably wouldn't be as much as impactful because you would have the same message from each employee going out, but obviously they have different, audiences, so it would reach different people. But you could
Yeah.
always set somebody up or your team on some like, content scheduling thing that was basically pre-done for them, and
Yeah.
they wouldn't have any effort from them, so then there's no reward, but then there's also, I don't know, the message might just get lost a little bit.
Well, that's my thing is like my hypothesis is that like the good brands, like, and you and I both know because we're on LinkedIn, but like the good personal brands that people actually want to follow and actually enjoy are people who are like unique, creative, like a little bit
Yeah.
unhinged, like actually having fun with their content. It's actually personal, not like because we've done it with individual founders and that kind of stuff too, where we write exactly word for word your LinkedIn post, we post it for you, all of that. And the challenge with getting that to get traction is that even though we're uniquely telling their stories, like I do an hour-long interview with you, I write 12 posts for you. It's your stories, it's your vulnerability, it's your blah blah, like whatever. Like, Gavin's top post this week was him him doing cold calls inside of a sauna, and it's just like a stupid post that's like 4 lines,
Yeah.
like best place of the week to do cold calls is in the sauna, and he's like closed in there. And that's like, 40,000 impressions, but it's like some of those leads came out of that. Hey, I saw you were doing cold calls. Like, are you doing lead gen, or like, what does that look like? Hey, tell me more about what you're up to. Hey, I heard you work with agencies. So it's like, there's some magic there to like, not the like, whitewash perfect AI type of posts or even like custom written posts, but rather like genuine, like personality from every rep. And it's like, how do you how do you enable that through the accountability, the creativity, and the reward system to make your reps actually successful with it?
Yeah. I mean, and
That
also different
unfound it.
industries like maybe not say certain things or, message across, and kind of like the accountability and just, checking in on making sure that what they're posting is something that you want, reflected about your company. That's also another thing too. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's amazing that most companies don't really go there. It's just
At
like you
all,
said,
right?
it's probably just because it's not like common and it's a little bit, newer.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm interested in that. And basically, I mean, the context of like the last 3 years for inbound revenue is we have like cracked and solved like the hardest channel to drive new business from, cold email. Like if we
Yeah.
think about it on a spectrum, the easiest channel to drive new business, of course, is just referrals, right? We know that. It's like if you literally just have someone that says like, "Oh, I know Parker, let's work, I want to work with Parker." Well, that's the easiest the easiest way to get
Yeah,
new
for sure.
business. Everyone wants more of it, and but no one can have enough of it. And then on the total opposite end is like cold email, cold calls, right? And somewhere in the middle, there's like personal brand and like ads, right? Somewhere between those two. But like if over the past 3 years we've figured out how to source well, like source consistently, cold email booked meetings, which is everyone's biggest first challenge. Like, can we actually even get meetings on the calendar? And then the second thing we solved is actually closing deals, which is, of course, everyone's biggest second challenge, with cold email is like, it's super hard to get your meetings on the calendar, and then it's super hard to close deals from there. So once we solved getting meetings on the calendar, then secondarily, we solved training up reps to get them. I'm like, okay, well, like now is the time to then figure out what does the warmer traffic look like? What does the longer term play look like? And being able to kind of intersect those things, I think is where our next move is, and where I think brands want. Like, I don't think I talked to two sales calls this morning with agencies that are like, yeah, we get 100 emails about cold email a day, and we only took yours because your offer looks really good and it's really unique, and we hope you can do something similar for us.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, well, I am going to do that, right? And also, no one that I book off of LinkedIn or off of posts is like, oh, I talk to 100 people off of LinkedIn posts a week. It's like, yeah, it's a totally just like different way of approaching it that I think people feel a lot more comfort and a lot more warmth with. And so while it works, like we've built a multi-million-dollar business off of just cold email, it's like that now is becoming part of the mix, which I
Yeah.
think is going to be an interesting evolution.
What do you think founders kind of misunderstand about inbound versus outbound?
Yeah. Outbound is about timing. Like, are you catching the right amount of like the right people at the right time? Like, either are they hiring, or did they just hire a new person, or whatever the thing, did they post about it? Like, where are your signals coming from that you're like reaching out to people based on? Otherwise, it's just a massive volume game where you got to reach out to tens of thousands of people a month, right? So either triggers or volume, and you can do both.
Yeah.
And then it's just like people misunderstand like how easy it might be to like close off of like cold email. Like, it is actually a pretty hard thing to do, but once you crack it, it is like magic. I mean, like once you have a pipeline, no one else is, closing off of like cold email or cold calls. So then you being able to crush that, you're totally standing out from your competitor who's down the street relying off of referrals and warm word of mouth and hoping that gets them through the year.
Yeah.
Inbound, on the other hand, is about asking the right questions. It's about being the doctor. Hey, they came to you for a reason, but you have to figure out why they came to you. You have to figure out how you can solve the problem still. Outbound is like you have to find them at the right time. Inbound is you have to figure out why they came to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, even outbound too, then you on the flip side, you have to swing it back to inbound and still figure out kind of why
Well,
and how
of
you can
course,
help them and
and
what their
and it's
pain points
way
are.
harder. It's way harder to figure out why they came to you on outbound because you came to them. Like, that's what people don't get, is like you being like, so why are we on the call today? It's like, yeah, but like, well, because you emailed me.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay,
for sure.
awesome, but like understanding why. Hey, but you mentioned in your email that like AI SEO was something that like you guys are thinking about LLMs and like how do I get traffic from LLMs? So tell me more about that. Okay, now we're having a conversation that's not just like,
Yeah.
well, you reached out to me. It's like, no, like let's get into what the conversation is really about, not just some like offer that I crafted, though that's helpful. It's like, but I got to really figure out how that offer and if that offer is a helpful thing for you and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. How has inbound marketing changed over like the last couple years for you? Kind of what still works, what's outdated? What are you guys kind of flipping into in the next couple years? Or is it AI? Is it AI SDRs? Like kind of what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like I'm because we're so uniquely positioned in some of these channels, like where we have dozens of marketing agencies that we work with on all this inbound stuff. Like every prospect that we talk to is looking for right now three things. One, as more people are searching in LLMs, how do I show up in LLMs? Two, as Google rolls out AI mode, how do I make sure that organic and paid is still working? Like, I don't know what AI mode is going to look like on Google. I don't know what ads will look like. Obviously, Google still is going to need ad revenue, so they're going to solve that. And so, how do I show up in AI mode, or how do I use my PPC in the new world? And then social. As it's harder to stand out in a world of AI video is getting better. It's easier to split test ads more quickly. What does that look like? And so even why I love this, like future proof is like that's the stuff that businesses are asking. So for my agencies, I'm talking about that. Like, hey, constantly, we need to be on the cutting edge of getting people showing up in LLMs. We need to be on the cutting edge of what's Google going to do next and make sure that we're prepared for what those algorithm changes are going to look like. AI video, like how are we using that? Are we not using it? Are we standing out from it? Are we not standing out from it? And so those three channels I think are the ones that are changing the most quickly for the agencies we work with and even for internally. It's like, okay, I just want to make sure that it's not just like content and blogs. It's like, well, no, like what is that optimized for LLMs and the way that we're thinking about the way that ads. So yeah, that's really where we're at right now.
Yeah, speaking with AI or speaking about AI, how are you using it to leverage it in your company?
Yeah, we do a few things like for the personalization, like we're not like writing full custom emails every single time. We have like pretty strict parameters of what our AI fields do, and it's usually in the context of a working template. So at any point across our agencies, we have, 10 to 20 campaigns that we're testing actively, and those will typically be informed by AI fields around their industry, their customers, their competitors, their hiring for roles, they're new to their role, like all of those things will integrate into the AI targeting, the AI fields in the messaging, but the overall message, like the script, the templates are still human curated, and we have just seen that those consistently convert at a better clip as of right now. And then separately, when any positive response comes in for any of our clients, we built an AI autoresponder that does handle excellently every time. Hey, awesome. Here's our calendar link, or here's a few times we're available. Oh, that time works. Okay, we book it on the calendar using the Go High Level API. Like we've really built in cleanly to all of our systems that the back and forth conversation from interested response all the way to meeting booked is completely handled.
Nice.
And so like this past month, we've done just over like 300 completed meetings. That's kind of like the scale of what we're at
Yeah.
across a couple dozen agencies. And those 300 completed meetings are 100%, 90% done. Literally the back and forth from interested response all the way to completed meeting is exclusively AI with no human interaction. So that's been really fascinating.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
and it's working really well.
All right. If every B2B listener or leader listening could do one thing this quarter to future proof their revenue, what do you think it would be?
I'm on the prediction wave right now because it's the end of the year. We're going into the new year. I'm like, and I run a cold email, cold calls, agency. But I do think, and you already heard my take if you listen to the last 10 minutes around like employee generated content. I think if businesses could crack that of like figuring out how to enable the creativity, accountability, and the system around their employees' content, I bet they're looking back 6 months from now and they're like, holy crap, like the amount of traffic and leads coming in from it is fascinating. So anyway, that's my take right now. 6 months from now, it might be different, but I'm very like hot actively on that conversation at this
That's
moment.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's, you got to think outside the box and create new ways for your customers. It's definitely a good take. And I don't think it's too far fetched of it. It's not like it's a new,
Yeah.
like, it's not like you're like reinventing anything. You're just literally doing
It's not
something
actually
that's
that it's not new. I'm like, hey, have your team post on social. Everybody's
yeah,
like, well, yeah, we could. I'm like, okay, well, why don't you? But also, that's real because it's not something I'm selling. It's not something I'm doing. So it's actually something that I just like genuinely am like fascinated by. If 6 months from now I might have case studies on it, it would be fascinating. But if a brand was interested in that, I would be super interested in talking more because I do think that is, yeah, I think that's unique. And to your point, it's not like that innovative or crazy. It's just like, hey, this might be where things are going. It's cool.
absolutely. Well, if a marketing agency, a B2B company, SaaS, whatever it is, if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to have a conversation, what's the best way to get in contact?
For sure. Yeah. Inboundrevenue.co is our site. And I'm just like Parker at inboundrevenue.co. I'm on LinkedIn at Parker Mays. Would love to continue the conversation and super appreciate this. This is a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Cheers.